27th of December, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Okay, right. Thank you, Lou. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here with some announcements. Here in Shlom Care Zoom, we are learning in Pierke Avos, the second parak. We're learning the Medrash Tanchuma, which is going to help us explain some of the things we'll be learning about in this Mishnah. And we are now in, if I'm not mistaken, should be paragraph 15. Yeah, paragraph 15, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay, this again, the Medrash Tanchuma is giving us an insight into Kadosh Baruch Hu's interest and protection over those who learn Torah Sheba'al Peh, specifically Torah Sheba'al Peh, and that's how we're going to finish up here with this. In paragraph 15. Yeah, who would like to begin reading for us today? Any volunteers?
I volunteer.
Sure. Okay. Please do if you like. Paragraph number 15.
Okay. You said 15?
Yes.
Okay. Eila tzedaka osei Hakadosh Baruch Hu im Yisrael she takdim v'hagala es galos yichanei legalos tzedaka kedei shelo tishtachach mehen. This is the tzedakah that's done by Hashem with Israel. What is shahakdim?
Kdim is that the kdim is to foresee or proceed. Right? Eila tzedaka also Kadosh Baruch Hu im Yisrael. This is the mercy, the righteous mercy that Kadosh Baruch Hu did, the kindness that Kadosh Baruch Hu did with the Jewish nation. Shehikdim, that he foresaw and proceeded v'higla as galus yechanya legalus tzidkia, that he foresaw and he advanced the exile of Yechanya before the galus of Tzidkia. Tzidkia was the king of Yehuda at the time of the galus Chorban Abayis Rishon, and as we learned earlier in the Medrash, based on the Psukim in Tanakh, we know that the galus of Yechenya took place 12 years before that galus, that exile that Tzidkia went through, and also that spared Yechenya and the Cheresh Venazgir and the Talmidei Chachamim, spared them all the terrible destruction and death and tortures of the Chorban Bayis Rishon.
So it was a tzedakah of Hashem that he advanced one exile before another exile.
Right.
In order to minimize the suffering.
That's tzedakah. That's what it says. Excuse me, Lou?
In order to minimize the suffering.
Yeah, that's if you go back, let me reference you to the previous paragraph. Um, uh, one second.
No, vigilant.
And no, we actually we want to do before that, if I'm not mistaken. One second. Um, mm, one second. All right. Uh, one second. Um, right. If you look at the, if you look at paragraph number 13, the first line or two in paragraph 13, you could read that if you like.
V'osan bet yeshivos lo roy Chevy below Smad below Shalal below Shalat Bahen Lo Yavan below Edom Behotzi An Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yud Bet Shana Kodem Korban Yisrael. I'm sorry, Yerushalayim. So there were two yeshivas. We don't see disbursement. They weren't
Shevi is captivity. Shevi is captivity.
captivity. Oh, captivity. That they were not sent into captivity, nor genocide, nor were they pillaged, nor were they ruled. Did anybody rule them? Not Yavon, not Greece, and not Rome. And they were brought forth by Hashem 12 years before the destruction of Jerusalem.
Right. So you see, these two yeshivas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu preserved these and protected these two yeshivas from all the calamities that surrounded the Korban Bias Rishon. Right. So that's what
Right.
you're in reference to now when it's that's a restatement here in the first sentence in paragraph number 15.
So it's talking about the same thing, that when he advanced the exile, he
Exactly.
he sent those two yeshivas out.
That's right. Exactly. Correct.
I see. Okay. Um, so today Shalo Tish Tachach Mehen Torah Shabal Peh, in order that there should not Tish Tachas means what? To cease, to end, to
No, tishkach is to forget. It should not be forgotten from them. It should not. Kadesh lo tishkach mehem Torah Shabbat Peh. In order that Torah Shabbat Peh should not be forgotten from the Jewish people.
from them, the Torah Shabbat Peh. Vayeshvu b'Torah San v'bab Bavel, Min Osa Sha'a. And they established in their Torah in Bavel from that year Ad Hayom until today. Below,
Oh, right. So they were previous to the general exile of all Klal Yisrael, which took place with the destruction of the base of Mikdash and the Galus of Tzidkiyahu, Tzidkiah, the king. So that Galus was preceded by the exile of the two yeshivas 12 years previously, in order, as it says here, Yeshu b'Sarasan b'Babel, that should be established their Torah in Babel, right? That there was going to be a institution of yeshivas already well established in Babel when the rest of Klal Yisrael came, when the Golus was finally complete, and the rest of Klal Yisrael came to Babel. We see this also. This was actually an anhaga. We saw this in last week's parsha. If you notice the Rashi, if you want to take a look, Rashi explains Yaakov Avinu sent Yehuda previous to the coming of the brothers to Yosef in Mitzrayim. So Yaakov Avinu sent Yehuda. Pasuk says, if you want to take a look in your Chumash and Parshas V'Yigash, I'll direct you to the pasuk in a moment. That it's there in chapter Mem Vav. That's chapter 46, pasuk Chav Ches, verse number 28. You have a Chumash there. You can take a look, and you see. I will show the Rashi there as well.
he sent Judah before him to go to Joseph to instruct ahead of him in Goshen, and they came to the land of Goshen.
So now take a look at Rashi here.
Rashi says, to instruct ahead of him, this is to be understood as Unclus translates it, clear a place for him, and to instruct how he will settle in it ahead of him before he would arrive there. And a Aggadic Midrash explains that the Horos, the Fanav, means the Sakein Lo base Talmud, to establish for him a house of study. She Misham Teitzei Hora'ah, from which instruction shall go forth.
Right. So you see, this is a hanhaga. This is a behavior which we see was reflected from the earliest times of Yaakov Avinu, that which represented going to Mitzrayim is really the prototype and the model for all our following exiles. That we see from this, that the necessity of Golus calls for an establishment of the yeshivas before the Klal Yisrael actually goes into Golus, which we see, as we're learning now, what took place when went to the first Golus, when went to Babel. And also the American Golus, we know that the Jewish community, when it was forced out of Europe, as we discussed yesterday, the experience of the Mir Yeshiva, for example, and other remnants of Klal Yisrael that escaped from Europe. So previous to that, they had already established the Kola and White Plains. Those one of my rebbes of Shmuel Shechter Zechron Bracha was instrumental in forming that Kola and White Plains. And that was previous to the actual war that was done in the late 1930s. And I remember him saying clearly when they were trying to establish the Coal and White Plains, they would talk to various people to raise money to the handful of um, Torah learners could have an established place of learning. So it was as if he said, he quoted himself saying as if he would trying to talk and convince people to start a kollel on the moon. If we would try and raise money to try and start the kollel on the moon, you could imagine how much success, financial success, and the support we would have for such an idea. So when they tried to start the original kollel in America in White Plains, that's how the idea was received. But eventually they persevered, and they eventually decided on choosing Rav Aaron Cutler Zichrono Bracha to be the Rosh Kollel. Rav Aaron Cutler came to them and established the Kollel in White Plains. And afterwards, he decided he wanted to move the location of the Kollel to Lakewood. And from there, we have the sporting of Torah in America. Torah learning in America was almost non-existent. There are maybe one or two places that you could possibly learn. That's why many of the um, great Torah leaders that we have out of our previous generation, those were the ones who left America, went to Europe, because there was no real place of higher Torah education that you could pursue Torah in a pure environment in America, and they needed to go to Europe to have that experience, and they eventually returned to America, primarily the Americans and Canadians that were there, and those were the ones who started the Coal and White Plains, and then therefore, when Gullus eventually came to America, there was some type of a Torah institution already established, and from there it grew, and is continuing to grow to this day. So this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing. That's the statement here. Elet tzedakah asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu im Yisrael. It was tzedakah. It was a rightful and merciful justice that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with Klal Yisrael, that the Gullus of Yechenia, which took place 12 years before the Gullus of Hiskia, went into Gullus Babel first, so the Torah Shabbat Peh shouldn't be forgotten from the Klal Yisrael. Okay. Now it says in the middle of the second line, Min Osa Shah, from that very time of the Gullus of Yechenia, going into Gullus Babel at the time of the Korban Bias Rishon, and from that time, Ad Hayom, until this very day.
Until this very day. Okay, so we're back to me.
Yeah, you can continue on with that middle of the second sentence in the last paragraph there.
Ad hayom v'lo shalit bahen v'lo Edom v'lo Yavan. What is shalit?
They weren't under the control. You have a shalat when you know what they call a remote control in this country.
I don't know, shalit.
When you have your air conditioner, right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's called a shalet. It's called a shalet. It's a remote control.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
right, Roy? That's what I think that's what they call it, right, Roy? Are you muted? I didn't hear you, Roy.
What did you asked me? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what they call these things. What do they call these things? You know, these shalat. They call it a shalat, right?
Mm.
Yeah, called a controller. Calls a controller. See, be careful. I can control you.
Okay, so they were not controlled by Rome, and they're not controlled by Greece. Below Gazru alehen shmad, and they didn't decree upon them shmad is destruction.
Yeah, genocide.
Va'af limos hamashiach ein kavle shel Mashiach ro'in.
Ein chavle Mashiach ro'im.
What's chavle?
Chavle Mashiach, chavle shel Mashiach. The birth pangs of Mashiach.
So even in the days of the Mashiach, there would not be the birth pangs of Mashiach.
They will not roin. They will not see the birth pangs of Mashiach. Those who are engaged in the yeshivas, which are learning Torah Shabbal Peh, they will not see Chevli Shel Mashiach. They will not see, and if they don't see it, they won't even experience it. Or if they don't see it, they're not even going to experience. They won't see nor experience Chevli Shel Mashiach. But that's only going to be if they're not looking. If they're looking to see, if they're interested in the news, right? So they can unfortunately expose themselves to the Chevli Shel Mashiach, and they'll be in bad straits. They'll be in a sad situation. But if they're interested in learning, which is what their purpose in life is, that they should preserve Torah Shabbal Peh in Klal Yisrael, and they're therefore learning in a way that they're not interested in what's going on around them, then that's going to be protected, just like they were protected at the time of the Korban Bias Rishon, and they were protected from Yava, and they were protected from Greece, they were protected from Edom, and they were protected from Europe 60 years ago. They'll be protected from Chevli Mashiach. But again, as long as they're not interested in looking to see it, if they're looking to see it, so they'll be in big trouble. But if they're going to be not interested in looking to see it, to be interested in what they're learning, then they won't see it. They won't have to experience it.
Shnei Amar, as it says, Hayu Tzion Hamalte. What's Hamalte?
Malti is from the ear. You know, you're familiar with the expression in the Sefer Devarim. Moshe Rabbeinu is commanded by Kadosh Baruch Hu to set up the Eri Miklat, right? The Eri Miklat.
Right.
So Malti Miklat, it's a similar shorish that it's Malti. It's going to be a refuge. So if you want, we can take a look at the pasuk in Zechariah. 1 second. Let's take a look. We'll take I don't know if you have a Tanakh nearby, but we can certainly take a look. See if we can bring it up on the screen. I don't know if on your screen you won't have it. I won't be able to put it on your screen. But if you have a Tanakh nearby, in Zechariah, it's Pierke base in Zechariah.
I can't find my Tanakh. I had it right here, and it's gone. Sorry, maybe somebody else has a Tanakh.
Okay. Anyone have one out there?
No, not here, no.
Okay, I've got one. Don't worry. Stay here. Ruth, Seicha, Koheles, Esther, Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah. That's good. Zephaniah, Zechariah. It's going to be here in. Okay, it's in Pierke base. If you want to mark it down, it's in Pierke base of Zechariah pasuk Yud Aleph. Pasuk Yud Aleph. All right. Oy Tzion himulati Yesheves bas. Right, the pasuk says, Oi Tzion, Himalti, right? Woe is to Tzion, Himalti, that you should escape, right? Yosheves Bas Bavel, those who dwell with the daughter of Bavel, whatever that means exactly. I have to look up the pasuk and see what the shot is here.
Okay, so it says,
It's what, it's chapter 2?
Yeah, chapter 2
Two.
and verse 11.
11
Oh,
says escape. You will. Well,
but are you
with
beyond? I'm out of
the weather
Malti. Is that right?
of Babylon.
Oh, well, the exiles of Zion escape. Oh, you.
Okay, so he wants the people to return to the land of Israel,
Right.
not
Well,
not to live with the Babylonians.
right. Right. Af ze loshen hazkar.
Okay,
Okay, 1 second. Right. It says, Oi Tzion Himalti. It says it's the Navi is calling out to Yehuda. This is I'm reading that from the Metzudas David. Ke'ilu Yikra Yehuda. It's as if he was calling out to Yehuda, meaning those um, went into Gullus with Gullus Yehuda. V'yomer Ata Adas Yehuda. Shigalta Mitchilas Lebavel Lesheves Binehem. So you, those who are in Gullus, amongst those who are in exile in Babel, Himlati Mimrabkum Sha'ata Lavo Tzion. You're being called back. Hashem is calling them back from Babel to return back to Sion. So you see that the fact that those who is the Navi in the name of Kadosh Baruch was calling out to those who are in Babel, those amongst them who escaped and are now worthy to return back to Yerushalayim. So you see, they're going to have a opportunity to return, and they won't be swallowed up. They won't be assimilated in Gullus. There's still somebody there to talk to. Okay.
All right, me Adom, Umiyon,
Adam Yavon from Rome and from
me
Yavon.
Adom, Umiyavan, Migaz Ro Sehem. They had decrees made against them.
They were saved. They were saved from Edom and from Greek. The Greeks from the Gazeras against us.
From the Gazeras.
Right.
From the Gazeras, decrees. The Kasiv, as it is written in Micah, Chole Vigachi Bas Tzion Keyolda Ki Ata Tatzi Mikore Ushchinas Basadeh. So I don't know what's Chole Begachi. I don't know.
Right, so right, Bas Sion, I mean the daughter of Sion, meaning the Jewish people, later, like those who are going through birth. It's going to be highly bigachi. It's going to be like an illness and a distress for Bas Sion, as if they were giving birth. Ki ata te'tzai mikroi vishkanas v'soda. Excuse me.
Because now the holiness comes out, and the Shechina, what is Bishada
Besada in the field.
in the
It's
field?
going to, right. It's going to be. It's going to be as if they're going to be giving birth, and there's going to be the distress and the sickness which is associated with giving birth. And nevertheless, it's going to be that those who are going to be there, they'll be in the field. They'll be in the field.
With the Shechina?
Yes, apparently they'll be there in the field with the Shekhinah.
Ushchina si kasiv Bisadeh she afal pi she'adam gole Bisadeh Shechina si lo zaza mimach mimcha.
Right, the Shekhinah, right? It says Alpha Pi Adam Gola Besada Shechinasi Shlo Zuz Mimcha. I mean, even though that a person's going to be exiled into the field, nevertheless, my presence, my divine presence, Lo Zaz Mimcha, my divine presence will not move from you.
From you.
Right.
Ubas ad Babel Sham Tinsale Sham Gig al Cha Hashem Mikaf Oivecha. And it comes unto Babel there. What is this Tansale?
You'll be saved.
Yeah, right, exactly. For Nitzel, from Hatzalah. Tinatzali, I will save you there. Yigalcha, I will redeem you. Hashem will redeem you, Mekaf Oyevecha, from the hands of your enemies.
Sham Lil ולמדך שמשם מתחילס הגועל משם עולין לירושלים שנאמר ועלו מושיעים בהר ציון וגומר. So there he will teach you
Sham Sham Lalovdeka, from there we learn, from there you learn, Misham Mitchilas Gula. From there you learn that from there is the beginning, that will be the beginning of the Gula, Misham. All in the Rishayim. From there, from that point, they will be redeemed and come up to Shalim. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk. We say this Pasuk every morning in the end of Sukkot Zimra, right? Ala Moshim Mahar Tzion.
the Mashiach will come from Har Zion.
Well, not Mashiach. We're not, no mention of Mashiach over here. No mention of Mashiach.
What's
Right,
Moshe?
We say this pasuk at the end of the just before Yishtabach, at the end of Psukim Zimah, just before this is 2 or 3 psukim, just before Yishtabach. If you hear, tell you maybe I'll tell you what. Let's stop here, and tomorrow we'll go over this. It's worthwhile going over this. We'll take a look at the Siddur tomorrow also, and then we'll have a clear picture of what's going on here. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Good. Thank you. Very good, Lou. Thank you for your reading.
Yeshikach, Lou.
Baruch Tiem.
And we'll take a little bit of a break now, and we will be coming back shortly to resume our learning in the Mishnah Berurah Mitzvah.